All right, guys, so we have talked on this channel before about what is happening to fast food, what is happening to these chains one by one, and I keep getting the same comment. Okay, but that is just one chain, the whole industry is fine. So, today I want to settle that, because it is not one chain, it is the whole thing. And the numbers coming out of early 2026 are genuinely alarming. Here is where we are right now. At least 15 major restaurant chains have already filed for bankruptcy this year. Restaurant bankruptcies are up 50% compared to this same period last year. The industry is now accounting for 12% of all bankruptcies filed in the United States in 2026. 12%. We are only in March. That is not a struggling sector. That is a sector in freefall. Around 35% of Americans eat out at chain restaurants at least twice a week. Tens of millions of people. And the core problem is that restaurant price inflation right now is running at roughly double the rate of grocery store inflation. Double. People are not stupid. They are doing that math in real time, and they are choosing the grocery store every single time. Menu prices are up somewhere between 30 and 80% since 2019, depending on where you eat. McDonald's up about 40% on average, some individual items up over 200%. IHOP up about 80%, Chipotle up around 70%. And Chipotle's CEO came out recently and basically rang an alarm bell about how badly traffic has dropped over the past several quarters. Their younger demographic, the core customer that built that brand, does not have the disposable income anymore. The market reacted immediately. Chipotle stock dropped 21% in a single week in 2026. If the S&P 500 fell 21% in a week, we would be calling it a full-blown crisis. But because it is one company, people just shrug. Do not shrug at this. Wingstop is down 26% over the past year. Shake Shack, which was bragging not long ago about holding up better than the big chains, is down over 20%. Even the brands that position themselves as premium and supposedly immune to this are getting crushed now. That is what makes this different from previous slowdowns. There is nowhere left to hide in this industry right now. Let me give you the specific revenue losses because I think when you see the names attached to these numbers, it really hits different. KFC is down $250 million. Chipotle down $150 million. Popeyes down $91 million. TGI Fridays down $100 million. Hooters down $80 million. Denny's down $40 million. Papa John's down $30 million. Subway and Hardee's each somewhere between 10 and 15 million. These are not obscure little chains. These are the restaurants that have been feeding middle-class America for decades. And then the store closures are piling up. Burger King is shutting around 377 locations nationwide. Denny's is closing 90. TGI Fridays is closing 100. Jack in the Box, 120. Applebee's, 30. Hardee's, 145. Wendy's, 72. The estimates say up to 20,000 jobs will disappear just from these closures alone, and I think that number is probably conservative when you start adding all of those up. Now, I know some of you are going to say, but I went to a restaurant last Saturday and it was totally packed. I had to wait 40 minutes for a table. And look, that is always going to happen. There are always going to be restaurants that are worth the price, where the food is genuinely exceptional, where people who can afford it keep coming back no matter what. Those places will stay busy, but look at that list. KFC, Chipotle, TGI Fridays, Hooters, Denny's. These are not fine dining establishments. These are places built specifically for middle and lower income Americans. And those are exactly the businesses getting crushed right now. That is the pattern. Higher end survives. Everything built for working class people gets hollowed out. Now, there is a video that has been going around that really kicked off this conversation for me. There is a restaurant employee in Milpitas, California, who was filmed throwing frozen ribs onto the ground outside the building, not inside a kitchen, not on any prep surface. The parking lot outside the building. The restaurant is called Fay Love, on North Milpitas Boulevard. Someone standing on a rooftop nearby filmed the whole thing. It went viral within hours. Santa Clara County health inspectors came in and shut the place down, citing sanitation issues and evidence of rodents inside the building. The owner went on record calling it an isolated incident and also saying he takes full responsibility, which is kind of two contradictory things to say, you know? But what really got me was the comment section defending it. Just rinse it off, it gets cooked in broth for hours anyway. And I am sitting there thinking, how normalized has this gotten? How far has the bar fallen that people read that story and immediately look for reasons it is okay? I asked the audience a while back a simple question. Do you still go out to eat regularly? And I got 650 replies, 650 people. And when I went through them, guys, the picture was consistent across the board. Let me just read some of these to you, because they say it better than I can. Someone said, only as a treat with my girlfriend, otherwise we just cook at home. Another one, maybe 4 times a year now. One person just said, not a chance. I cannot afford it. Another, we have not been to a sit-down restaurant since May. And here is the one that really stuck with me. Someone said they took the people who helped them move to Culver's, just Culver's, and the bill for 4 people came out to nearly $100 at Culver's, a fast casual burger chain. And all they could think about was how many groceries that same $100 would have bought. Another person said anything more than once a month out at a restaurant feels like a bad financial decision in this economy. And honestly, I cannot disagree with that. When 650 people answer one question and the overwhelming direction of those answers is, we have cut back hard or stopped completely, that is not a trend. That is a market contracting in real time. And here is the thing that I think the chains are not fully reckoning with. Even if inflation somehow stabilized tomorrow, the habits have already changed. When people stop going somewhere and start cooking at home and realize the food they make is better and costs a fraction of the price, a huge portion of them do not come back. That shift is sticky. It is permanent for a lot of people. And that is the wall the restaurant industry is running into right now. Unless you are sitting in a prime downtown location with built-in foot traffic, the math just is not working for most of these businesses. The waitstaff cannot afford to live in the same cities where they work. They are commuting further and further out. And at some point, they just stop making that drive. And when the staff disappears, the service falls apart. And when the service falls apart, the customers stop coming. And when the customers stop coming, the restaurant closes. It is a sequence, and it is playing out in slow motion right now in hundreds of markets across the country. And look, one comment from a viewer that I keep coming back to said this: the generation drowning in student debt that cannot find stable work and that is never going to own a home is not taking a family out to dinner. In a lot of cases, they do not have a family. They cannot afford one. They are not spending money they do not have at a chain restaurant serving reheated frozen food. And no loyalty app or Tuesday night discount is going to fix that. Okay, so let us talk about the hidden fees situation, because this is something I have covered before, and it just keeps getting worse. Walk through a typical restaurant visit right now. You sit down, the burger on the menu says $16. Fries are not included. You eat. The bill comes. And on that bill, you have the food total, then tax, then a credit card processing surcharge, usually 3 to 4%, then a service fee, and then a tip prompt starting at 18% at the bottom. Oh, and in a lot of places now, you ordered from a touch screen. You did not speak to a single human being. The screen still asked you to tip. People have been posting their receipts on Reddit, and some of these are genuinely hard to believe. One person had a 10% employee health charge added to their bill totaling $13.70. And the tip suggestion below that started at 18%. So you are being asked to tip on a total that already includes a fee you had no idea was coming. That person wrote in the comments, just raise the menu prices. Do not ambush me at the end of the meal. Also, what is a crusty avocado, and why does it cost $8? I would also like to know. Another person was charged a 50-cent credit card processing fee, even though they paid in cash. Someone else got hit with a mandatory 20% service charge that supposedly went to the team. They asked the server where exactly the money went. The answer was not clear. Another person at a downtown Los Angeles restaurant got a 22% surcharge added. They asked the server to remove it. The server said the owner had a sign posted at the front desk so it could not be waived. They felt completely ripped off, because they were. Takeout is not exempt either. One woman ordering a sandwich was charged an extra $1 for the container, the bag, and the silverware. She asked if they could just wrap it in foil and skip everything else. It was already on the bill. She had no choice. And I think about what that moment does to a customer relationship. You just torch that person as a repeat customer over $1 in a bag, and they are going to tell everyone they know about it. Someone else went to a restaurant where the menu said 1 free refill on soft drinks. The cups were half the normal size and packed almost completely with ice. Add a service fee to that experience, and I genuinely do not know how you look a customer in the eye and ask them to come back. California passed SB 478, which is supposed to stop what they call junk fees. The rule is that you cannot advertise one price and then pile on undisclosed charges at checkout. But the exceptions are government taxes and government fees. So, what is going to happen in practice is that restaurants will just fold those surcharges directly into the menu prices. Everything jumps 4 or 5%, the fees disappear from the receipt line items, and the customer ends up paying the exact same amount. The money does not go anywhere. It just gets less visible. And then there is the Cisco situation, which I do not think gets talked about enough. A massive percentage of what gets served at mid-tier chain restaurants in this country came off a distribution truck already portioned, already marinated, already frozen. The kitchen is basically a reheating facility. The impression that someone made your food from scratch is, in a lot of cases, theater. I got a comment from someone who worked at a coffee shop that marketed itself heavily on being organic and locally sourced. Every product in that kitchen came from Cisco, Costco, or Walmart. Another viewer recognized the pastries on a restaurant dessert cart as the exact same ones sold at his local Costco. And here is the best one. A barbecue restaurant in Texas, where barbecue is essentially a religion. The owner admitted privately that his pecan pie had been coming from Sam's Club for years. Customers thought it was homemade the whole time. Someone put it perfectly in a comment. Going out to eat has become a competition over who can reheat Cisco products with the least damage. Everything tastes the same because it all comes from the same place. The menu variety is decoration. The food itself is industrial. And once you start cooking at home seriously, you figure this out fast. You go to a restaurant and something is off and you cannot quite name it, but you know, because you have tasted real food made with real effort. And the gap becomes very obvious very quickly. One creator I saw talked about getting a fried chicken sandwich recently at a restaurant. Not crispy, wrong bun, onion rings instead of fries, no coleslaw. And he is sitting there thinking he could have made this better at home in 30 minutes. And I have been in that exact mental place. You spend the money, you sit down, and you are eating something that you know is worse than what you would have made yourself. That is not an experience worth paying for. Let me talk about what happened at Times Square Applebee's, because this one really captures where things are. Someone went there, 2 people, shared 1 entree, no dessert, no alcohol at all. Bill came out to $93.36. Spinach dip was $20.49. Mozzarella sticks were $18 at Applebee's. Now, yes, everything in Times Square costs more, I understand that. But guys, this is Applebee's. This is the chain that built its entire identity on affordable, casual American food for regular people. When Applebee's becomes a $93 dinner with no drinks, the whole premise of what that brand exists to do has completely fallen apart. And for a while, fast food was the escape hatch when sit-down restaurants got too expensive. That gap is gone now. 2 small combos at Wendy's is $20. Chipotle for 2 people runs $25 to $30. I saw someone post that. A single order at a fast food place came to $27 and they declared they were never going out to eat again. Subway's $5 footlong is now $10 to $15 at most locations. Someone shared a receipt showing $20 for a footlong. The sandwich did not get any better, the price just tripled. And now they are charging you extra for a dipping sauce at a fast food restaurant for a sauce. And the advertising makes all of this worse because they are still running commercials showing these perfectly constructed burgers that look nothing like what shows up in your bag. That gap between what you see in the ad and what you hold in your hand has become a running joke at this point. And it is a joke nobody finds funny anymore. Now let us talk about the service collapse, because the prices are one thing, but when you combine bad prices with bad service, the whole experience becomes completely unjustifiable. Someone posted a video of themselves walking out of an Outback steakhouse, seated for 15 minutes. Restaurant was not busy at all. More hostesses visible on the floor than actual servers. Two managers standing at the bar corner having a conversation with each other. Nobody came to the table in 15 minutes, not even to bring water. They just got up, filmed it on the way out, and left. And I watched that clip and thought, how do you run a business like that? How do managers stand at the bar while customers sit ignored at tables? That is not a slow night. That is a management failure. And then there is the tipping situation, which keeps getting worse in a direction that helps nobody. You have servers posting videos online saying if you cannot afford to tip, do not come out to eat. One creator posted exactly that after getting stiffed by a large party. The underlying frustration is real, and I get it. But that video got over 21,000 comments, and I promise you, the overwhelming majority were not supportive. Every time a video like that circulates, it pushes more people further away from going out at all. Here is the reality of that situation. Servers are being paid poverty wages by their employers, and the entire system has been designed to push the cost of supplementing those wages onto customers through tips. That is not the customer's fault. That is an ownership model. The anger that comes from working for low hourly wages should be pointed at the people setting those wages. When it gets redirected at the customers, all it does is accelerate people's decision to stay home. And now, some restaurants are actually deducting credit card processing fees directly from server tips, not from restaurant revenue, from the tips customers left for the staff. It is currently legal. One server shared this and said, her restaurant does not even accept cash, so the argument that it is a cost of earning tips makes no sense at all. It is just a cost of working there. Legislation in Illinois that would stop this got delayed until July 2026. So, it keeps happening. And New York City restaurants are now hiring remote cashiers in the Philippines, working via Zoom for $3.75 an hour. The customer stands at a kiosk. The cashier appears on screen from thousands of miles away. This is happening right now in 2026. And it is only a matter of time before that concept expands further, and the human element of the restaurant experience gets replaced completely by automation. And here is one more layer that does not get enough attention: the tax bill. Virginia Beach raised its meal tax from 5.5 to 6%. Combined with the 6% general sales tax already in place, people there are now paying 12% total tax on every restaurant meal. Norfolk is at 12.5%. Newport News at 13.5%. Chesapeake at 12%. Portsmouth at 13.5%. These are not major coastal metros. These are mid-sized Virginia cities. And at those tax rates, on top of everything else we have talked about, the total bill becomes genuinely hard to justify. Okay, I promised I would come back to TGI Fridays, and here we are, because this story is almost too good as an example of how out of touch corporate chains have gotten from the real world. There is a server named Brittany Bell at the TGI Fridays in the Atlanta airport. She went viral because someone filmed her comforting a little kid who was having a complete meltdown in the restaurant, getting down to his level, talking to him, genuinely calming him down. It was a real human moment, and it spread everywhere. TGI Fridays corporate saw it, posted about how proud they were of Brittany, announced they were sending people to the restaurant to recognize her, and they followed through. Executives flew to Atlanta, came to the restaurant, got everyone together, had it filmed for social media, big dramatic build-up, and then they presented Brittany with a giant novelty check, the kind you see at sweepstakes prize reveals. Big foam board, big number on it. $500, guys, $500. Think about what that whole production cost. The executive flights, which were not economy, the hotel rooms, the ground transportation, the time, all of that almost certainly cost more than the check itself. And the woman who went viral for being a genuinely decent human being at her job gets a sweepstakes-style payout that you would normally just wire to someone's account with a thank you email. TGI Fridays turned off all comments on their social media accounts after posting it, which tells you exactly how that landing went. And multiple people in the comments before they got shut off said they genuinely thought TGI Fridays had already gone out of business years ago. When a brand that is supposedly still operating nationally has that level of public awareness, the PR disaster is the least of their problems. So, pull all of this together, and the picture is pretty clear. Menu prices up 30 to 80% since 2019, 15 or more major chains filing for bankruptcy, a 50% surge in restaurant failures from 2024 to 2026, KFC down $250 million, Chipotle down $150 million, TGI Fridays down $100 million, Burger King closing 377 stores, Denny's closing 90, Hardee's closing 145, 20,000 jobs expected to disappear from those closures alone, hidden fees stacking up on bills that were already hard to stomach, service that has deteriorated to the point where people are walking out mid-visit, tipping culture that has gone from a gesture of appreciation to a mandatory line item on a kiosk screen for a self-service order, remote cashiers in the Philippines on Zoom, calls for $3.75 an hour, meal taxes hitting 12 to 13.5% in mid-size American cities, and a customer base where a huge chunk has run out of money, changed their habits permanently, or decided the whole thing just is not worth the hassle anymore. The restaurants that survive this are the ones where the food is genuinely worth it, where the experience means something, where the price reflects real quality and not just institutional habit. Those places exist, and some of them are thriving. But the strip mall chains, running on Cisco deliveries and decades of name recognition, the ones that responded to inflation by charging more and giving less, they already made their decision. And the empty dining rooms are the market answering back. This is where the restaurant industry is in 2026, and it does not turn around until someone in that industry honestly asks why people stopped coming in, and then actually listens to what they hear. Let me know in the comments. Are you still going out to eat? And what makes it worth it to you when you do? Drop it below. If this one hit the like button. It genuinely helps get this out to more people. Talk to you in the next one.